الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to him, and peace and blessings be upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him. And he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, chronologically, I'm supposed to start directly now with the battle of Tabouk, where we started now to talk about the munafiqeen. But I want just to take about maybe 10 minutes quickly to highlight something. I believe, in case if you attended some of the Friday sermons, maybe the idea should be clear in mind. If not, I feel some kind of ethical duty to highlight this thing. The last 3 weeks, I'm focusing on the big lessons of the fires of California in Los Angeles. Because we have a very hot debate. Do we have the right as believers to feel happy when someone else is suffering from a disaster? Yes or no? The general ethical answer is no, definitely. We have to feel sympathy and empathy, definitely. Because some people, they mix. When we highlight part of this huge issue, some people, they mix things in a wrong way and they receive wrong messages. The general rule in Islam, any genuine Muslim should be loving khair and goodness for everyone. Generally. Okay? We have exceptions. You have the enemies who are killing you, you have the enemies of humanity, you have the exceptions. The general rule, humanity in general, a genuine believer should be loving khair for any of them and should be feel pain if anyone is suffering. Period. Let's close this file now. As Muslims, we should not ignore as well the signs of Allah when something huge like this happens. Specifically, when some indications are pushed by themselves and force you to rethink about them. Now, we don't highlight every day talking about what is so-called in the human language natural disaster. For us, we don't call them natural disaster because it's a direct commandment by Allah for us. But this is not my point. Every day we have earthquakes everywhere. Every day we have volcanoes, on a globe level, okay? In a global level, every day we have disasters, wherever. Why we stopped, we kept talking about the fires of California in specific. From my point of view, it's not us, it's the world. For two main reasons, one of the main reasons. Because from one angle, it is the biggest and the most damaging fire in the history of the United States. It's not like any fire. And by the way, California in specific, they always have fires. And they have the biggest equipped system on earth for fighting fires. Because it's part of their system in their life. Always they have fire. A lot of forest, but now it happened by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very low level of humidity, very long dry season, very strong wind. By the will of Allah, it happened, and one lightning just like this, khalas, everything started. My point now. We as Muslims, how do we view these things? I will give you general rule, then I will tell you why I as a Muslim, plus by the way, many Christian and Jewish priests and rabbis, they commented on this. But I will keep it now. Generally, we as Muslims, we need to know the following. That nothing happened in the universe except by the will of Allah. Number one. If Allah willed, no one can stop it. When Allah decides to let what we call natural disaster, earthquake, flood, volcano, lightning, whatever happens, the incident happens and the messages differ depending on the person himself. We need to understand, when Allah decides to make a natural disaster, Allah does not pick and choose people. Which means a disaster from Islamic point of view happens on the shoulder of a believer and non-believer. A good and bad person. Black and white. Male and female. Old and young. All of them, they are included. But why? It's the will of Allah. For us, because we believe that a natural disaster is not the end of the story, we believe if someone passed away in such a disaster, they differ in terms of their final destination. Here comes the most important thing. Yani, the example I highlighted on Friday, I said, if we have Hamza radiallahu anhu, the master of the martyrs, fighting with Abu Jahl, as example, in the battle. Now they are in the same place, having nearly the same style of weaponry. Sword, spear, shield, eating from the same food, standing on the same land, in the same time, using the same tools. If they killed each other, they, now for the observer, they lost their lives. سامع الوش هاي من عشان تيجي؟
شيل المايك الجديد
هاد؟
يا I think هذا
حط هون؟
لا راح وش.
طيب خليه هون.
لا فصلته بالمرة لأنه الشكل الدابتر مش شغال.
اوكي وهذا شغال؟
شغال.
اوكي تمام. What I was saying? For example, let's imagine in theory, Hamza and Abu Jahl, they were fighting, and at a certain point, everyone had the strongest hit and they killed each other. For a third party observer, they lost their lives. Poor. No. One of them is the master of the martyrs. One of them is Fir'aun هذه الأمة. He's the pharaoh of this ummah to the bottom of the hellfire. Even though they faced the same technical, materialistic appearance. So we don't judge things just because it's a fire, it's a disaster. No, maybe someone will die in a fire and he will be a martyr. The other one will die in a fire and he will start the real fire of Jahannam in the day, of the day of judgment. So this is general rule. But why I'm highlighting, like many other people, even non-religious people, and some priests in some churches in America, for two reasons. Golden Globes awarding ceremony. We need to know this. The fire happened in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, it's the city of Hollywood. Hollywood is one of, if not the biggest cinema production on earth, and contains the most influential, powerful, well-known, rich actors on earth, without exaggeration. 2 days exactly, 48 hours before the starting of the fire, I think the fire started on the 7th, they were there on the 5th in Los Angeles, in the place of the fire, exactly. They had this global Golden Globes award ceremony. Hundreds, tens of them, very well known. We all know them. So, sitting, women half naked nearly. This is forgot nothing, drinking and something. Okay. So, I read in the Wikipedia the categories, to the best of my memory, the categories of distributing these awards, they are 29. For example, cast, crew, the best cast, the best crew, the best director, the best male actor, the best female actor, the best kid actor, the best whatever. Okay, 29 categories. For those categories who received the awards, they used to hold the mic when everyone finishes, and they did some kind of thanking, speeches. So I want to thank my mom, I want to thank my dad, I want to thank my wife, my husband, whatever. So they collected this and they started showing on the screen one of the American actress lady. She's like a stand-up comedian, very famous, very well known. She was the MC holding the mic, commenting on the results that they discovered on the speeches of thanking. So now look what she said. He said, now cast and crew 11, which means 11 out of this number who thanked, they mentioned, they thanked the cast and the crew. Oh, okay. 2 moms, 3. 3 of them just out of the 29, 27, whatever, they expressed their thanks to their moms. Now here comes the disaster. Then they put the word God with the capital G. Opposite to God was the number 0. Look, if 0, by the way, everything else is 0 as well. Why you insisted on mentioning that God is 0? Logically, Donald Trump is part of 0. Obama should be put 0. Netanyahu 0. Why God? Because they equal logically. If everyone is not mentioned equal to 0, you can mention anything on earth. You got my point? Then put God 0. Look how literally she commented. Go to YouTube and just say Golden Globes awarding ceremony MC final. She said, God, in this exact way, the creator of the universe, 0. And they started laughing and clapping. Ha, 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 ha. Then she added her biggest bomb. While they were clapping and laughing, and she was laughing, she added this. She said, no wonder in a godless city, Los Angeles. No wonder in a godless city. Exactly 48 hours, the fire started. By the way, up to this moment, today, we are on the 27th of January, still the fire has not stopped yet. What do you mean, Sheikh? Do you mean that Allah is punishing them? Allahu Alam. Maybe. But this is a big message. By the way, in the 11th day, I stopped counting and following up. The losses, the direct, not the indirect. We have direct and we have indirect. The direct, it was 274 billions. Direct. And the estimate up to the first week of the cost of the reconstruction is 1 trillion. In Los Angeles. Up to the 11th day. I'm not discussing today. Today is 21 day. So it's amazing. So just 2 days after that, as if, Wallahu Alam, Allah is telling them, okay, godless city, let's see how we'll control. Most of those people who were laughing and clapping, they lost their villas and houses. Now I read quickly, some of them, the cheapest house, to the best of my memory, it was 4 million American US dollars, which is about 6 million Canadian dollar. The cheapest, the rubbish. The average is about between 30 plus millions. Just the estimate of the house, the cost of the house. Some of them 72 millions. Some of them his house is 50, 60, 30, 18, 29. But talk about the house, not just still the furniture of the house, not the jewelry in the house, not the direct cash they lost in the house, not the fancy cars that they lost with the house. So billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's a lesson. Anyone who believes, and by the way, I thought just Muslims were thinking in this way. When I listened to some priests, they were quoting from the Bible, making special videos, very strong videos, bringing them while they say, no wonder in a godless city, ha 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 ha. Then these American priests were bringing from the Old Testament, how God punishes the people when they commit blasphemy. You know this terminology, blasphemy? Committing blasphemy in Arabic means التجذيف على الله أو شتم الله أو الاستهزاء بالله, making fun of Allah or attacking Allah or declaring the enmity against Allah. It's called committing blasphemy. Even American priests themselves, they were quoting it. What are you doing? Where are you going? That's why many people, they focused on talking about the fires from faith point of view. Because most of the people, they analyze it just from scientific point of view. Scientific math. What's the reason of the fire? Long, dry season. Very strong wind. Low level of humidity. One incident of lightning fire. This is math. By the way, it's true. People of faith, they don't stop by math. They go behind the one who controls the math and physics and who created math and physics, the decision maker, or to be more specific, the ultimate decision maker. إذا قال لشيء كن فيكون. It seems, Allah knows the rest, He decided to give small punishment, not general. This is, by the way, none of them passed away. All of them, they are still alive. Still, they can return back and they can repent and everything is khalas, no problem. Still, that's one of the evidence on that. وَلَنُذِيقَنَّهُم مِّنَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَدْنَى دُونَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَكْبَرِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. We will let them taste part of the low punishment, the simple punishment, before the biggest punishment, which is Jahannam eternally after death, so that they might return back, which is general rule on them and on us, on all of us. This is the first reason why we focus. The second reason, I think no one has 1% doubt that it was the biggest message in the fire. Mr. James Wood, the American actor. James Wood, go and check in the YouTube. James Wood is he was born 1947 and he received a lot of awards. He's one of the actors in Hollywood. James Wood, he is on the top rank genocide enablers. He was supporting killing the children and women in Gaza all the time. And I know we have many people who support killing innocent people, but at least they hide themselves. They feel shy just to show it. They just shut up their mouths and they speak in their private circles. This wicked, rude person, he insisted to support in public, and he has a very, very famous tweet where he says, no ceasefire, no compromise, no compassion, hashtag kill them all. Who? All is applicable in who? The people of Gaza. No compromise, no compassionate, no ceasefire. Look, no ceasefire, kill them all. James Wood, in specific, out of all the actors, he was the only one who came to CNN on the day of the fire after he lost his house, crying like a child. He lost his house, he was crying. He said, you know, my house, my memories of my sons, of my grandsons. And the irony, the wicked things, the American CNN presenter, she was, very sympathetic. She about to start crying. Never they had their tears for the kids of Gaza, subhanallah. But you believe in human rights, I believe, sah? You are supposed to have human rights. So when you see kids who are burned alive by the American napalms, okay, you should cry for them as well, at least from human point of view. She was about to cry with James Wood, who lost his house. And now millions of people, not Muslims just, even Americans, non-Muslims, atheists, secular, religious, Jewish, Christian, millions of them, they started making fun of him. They started to bring his tweets, and he was so wicked that he put his tweet with an image of a Gazan hijabi sister crying on the rebels of her house. This is his tweet. He said, no ceasefire, kill them all. On a hijabi woman. So they brought to him his tweet with the rebels, and they put the image of his burned house with the image of himself crying on CNN, which means no ceasefire. Okay, no ceasefire. No ceasefire. You said no ceasefire, so Allah is dealing with you on the basis of no ceasefire. Fire will keep. Don't worry. Which fire now? So that's why, by the way, because of these two reasons, because disasters happens everywhere. Why the people, they stopped by it? Because the possibility of the divine, powerful message was there, very strong. Wallahu a'lam. I wanted to share with you just because some people, once you mention, you mean you didn't. No. This is the general rule. طيب, what about Sheikh? What about Muslims who lost their houses? May Allah compensate them. It's part of the trial for everyone. And by the way, a Muslim black community, they used to have in the mid of that, the only masjid in that area. Only masjid, it's for American black Muslims. They lost the masjid. Yes. So that's why I told you, when Allah decides to let a disaster happens, it covers every one. Some of them, they are punished. Some of them, they are purified, upgraded. Some of them, it's a lesson for them to return back. Some of them, Allah. We have many, and by the way, just recently, you know, the incident of the earthquake of Turkey. Earthquake of Turkey. How many people? Tens of thousands. The majority, they are Muslims. So where is Allah? It's the same rule. طيب, is it true that everyone passed away in the earthquake was a shaheed? Do you think so? Can we say, I swear by Allah, that every single person passed away in the earthquake of Turkey was a martyr? Can we say that? No, definitely. We have a lot of bad people who were punished and they will go to Jahannam. By the way, among Syrians refugees themselves, they used to have informants, traitors, working with Al-Assad regime against the refugees, living amongst them. Khawaniyan, criminals. And they passed away with the earthquake. Are they martyrs? No, they are khawan, they are traitors, they are ila Jahannam, inshallah. So they are Muslims. Yes, the same rule. So generally we say, may Allah protect everyone. If Allah willed, we can't stop it. But let's say, oh Allah, when your will happens, help me to be ready, not to deserve the punishment, but to be patient. And in case if you took my soul, accept me as a shaheed. If I stayed alive, alhamdulillah, help me to compensate what you took from what you gave me. Because in Islam as Muslims, I think we are the only group on earth who believe in that now. We believe that everything belongs to Allah. What we own does not belong to us, including our bodies, by the way. Many people, they think that I'm joking when I say it. No, in Islam, everything I own, it's a gift from Allah, from God. That's money, for example. Money does not belong to us. We say, al-malu lillah. Money belongs to God. I'm a trustee. The money is trust. I'm a slave working as a trustee with the master, i.e. Allah, in His money. He told me, benefit yourself, eat, drink with halal, spread, do the sadaqah, donation, zakah, till I decide to take your soul, then the money will go to whom I decide. This is the Islamic philosophy with money. That's why when someone says, you see, this is my rizq, you say, no. رزقك ليس ما تملكه. Your sustenance in this dunya is not what you own. قال رزقك من تفعت به. أما ما تملكه الباقي كله ما تملكه تحاسب عليه وينتفع به غيرك. It's very dangerous, by the way. What you own is part of your accountability, but it's not your rizq. It's not your sustenance. It's not your share. It's your trust. Your rizq is just what you directly benefit from. What you eat, what you drink, what you use in your clothes, what you benefit, your bed, your house, your car. This is your rizq. But I own $1 billion. This is not my rizq. I spend, let's say, out of this 1 billion, let's say 50 millions in my life. This is my rizq, the 50 millions. The rest 950 millions, it's a trust. I will be held accountable, but it's rizq of someone else. So this understanding for the money, for the property, the same. I have a villa in halal money. The fire in California came, disappeared. What shall I do? And there is no insurance. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. What can I say? Nothing. Ya Allah, Allahumma laka alhamd. Allah took the money that, gave it to me. let's think, if it happened because of a shortage of taking consideration, let's do our best not to let this happen again. If it happened, with complete, out of my control, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I'm talking about believers now, even practicing Muslims. So as not to misunderstand, because some people will say, once we comment on this, so you don't like khair for others? No, habibi, it's much more bigger than that. So I felt, because this is a very specific group, I felt ethically it's not good just to continue without sharing you with this, because nearly everyone on earth was talking about this topic in the last 2-3 weeks. And by the way, it started in San Diego. Not just Los Angeles now, San Diego, 150 kilometers. They are in the south of California as well. So it's one of the biggest disasters in the history of the United States. As a believer, how can I benefit from this? This is part of the possible insights and thoughts, wallahu alam. Wow, I did not know that it will take this time. Well, I was planning 10 minutes. But I hope there's some benefit in it.
Did you mention about firefighters in LA?
What about them?
The chief is a gay, and she only hired black people.
طيب هذا اللهم صل عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. لا ابدا ما بوصلش، اعوذ بالله، ليش يوصل؟ شكله الكنافه مأثر عليه. يا عمي بقى حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. ولك حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. اسمع، ماكل كنافه كثير شكلك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. والله بس كالجيز. طيب, let me at least just take half of the dars just to sharing, because I think we did share maybe the most important thing for tonight. Last time, if you remember, still for the last 2 sessions, we are focusing on the role of the hypocrites in the Battle of Tabouk. Battle of Tabouk, it was in a very, very difficult time. Very hot, shortage of everything, long distance, and we covered this. Now, last time, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, told him about the munafiqeen, about the hypocrites. And he commanded him not to pray or to make dua or to be lenient with them or. And we said, this is a big lesson for all of us. Today, I will highlight just one incident from the munafiqeen, so as not to take your time. Now, part of what happened at that time, قال المنافقون قاموا ببناء مسجد الضرار أثناء تجهيز النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لجيش العسرة. A group of hypocrites, they started block. Politically and from security point of view, it was one of the most difficult times in the history of Islam at that time. So everyone, it was compulsory to prepare himself and to go to fight. And as I told you, the army, according to the narration, between 30 and 36,000. It's the biggest number. And they were heading towards the north, up to fight the Romans, Christian Romans, and Arab Christians all together, with different estimates, with about 100,000 preparing to them. So, anyone who does not have an excuse, it was compulsory to go. Which means Medina will be left just with women, kids, and the administrative staff who will take care of Al-Medina. Everyone else should go. In this time, a group of hypocrites, they started building a masjid. A masjid. Look. So it's a good thing. Wow. Masjid. Look how they work. Munafiqeen, hypocrites. So superficially, wow. ايه يا عم؟ ايه هتعترض على بناء مسجد بقى الله؟ ايه what? They are building a masjid. Look what they say. قال they started building a masjid قال بقصد جمع أوباش الناس وبغية التفريق بين المؤمنين. They were collecting all filthy, dirty people who does not like al-awbash, the rubbish of anyone, those just hidden, people like themselves. قال, with the intention to spread, making the disunity between the Muslims, to have this masjid and that masjid, this group and that group. It was the beginning. Now, قال وقيل إنهم دعوا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تمويها على الناس. So on what they did, to make like a full coverage, to give the credibility for themselves, they claim that, Ya Rasulullah, we are a group of Muslims, we are on the suburbs of the Medina, we can't come to pray with you in the Medina every time, just to spread the barakah, Ya Rasulullah. We decided to build in a such and such location a masjid. Can you come and make at least one jama'ah so that the people around us will know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the blessings for this masjid? This was their plan. You see, the media coverage. Who prayed in this masjid? Rasulullah. So when they say we are making a special dars in the masjid where Rasulullah prayed in, this is how the munafiqeen were planning. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, for him as a human being, if he was not supported directly by the wahi or by the revelation, he is what? Human beings. Yani imagine, put yourself in his place. He has a good, nice masjid, a group of people, because they want to catch the jama'ah, they can't, so they made another masjid, which is part of Islam, no problem. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had no idea what they were planning to do, the long-term plan, had no idea. Immediately he was supported with the revelation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the following ayah. وَالَّذِينَ اتَّخَذُوا مَسْجِدًا ضِرَارًا وَكُفْرًا وَتَفْرِيقًا بَيْنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَإِرْصَادًا لِمَنْ حَارَبَ اللَّهَ ورسوله من قبل وليحلفن إن أردنا إلا الحسنى والله يشهد إنهم لكاذبون. There are also those hypocrites who set up a mosque only to cause harm. So is it possible to do something apparently nice to cause harm? Yes, by hypocrites. Can hypocrites in our countries build a special institution to teach you foreign languages? Yes. Apparently teaching you a new language is something good. Hidden, what is it? Recruiting you to be a spy against your country. You get my point? This is hypocrisy. Now, only to cause harm, promote disbelief, divide the believers, to promote disbelief and divide the believer, and as a base for those who had previously fought against. They want a place to collect themselves. Allah and His fought against Allah and His Messenger. They will definitely swear. When we expose them, Allah is exposing them in advance. They will definitely swear, we intended nothing but good, but Allah bears witness that they were surely liars. So Allah gave you an idea. Immediately Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was guided by the wahi, be careful, don't go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues. Now in another narration, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, he's explaining to us who were they. قال هم أناس من الأنصار ابتنوا مسجدا فقال لهم أبو عامر ابنوا مسجدكم واستعدوا بما استطعتم من قوة ومن سلاح فإني ذاهب إلى قيصر ملك الروم فآتي بجند من الروم فأخرج محمدا وأصحابه. What was the main reason? It was a very, very wicked, planned, hiddenly planned, political, let's say militant a group. The reason for the location, it was the group, they were under the Ansar. They are hypocrites, but they used to be from the people of the Medina. They built that, and one of them, his name is Abu Amr. They say, build your masjid, gather yourselves, try to collect as much as money and weapon you can, and I'm traveling now, going to the king of the Romans. You see, they are non-Christians. They are paganists. But they felt who's close to them to support? The Romans. And قال ملك الروم. So he decided to go to the king of the Romans at that, قال ملك الروم, which is Herakl at that time, to ask him to support him with arms and men. To do what? قال لنخرج محمدا وأصحابه, to kick out Muhammad and his companions from Al-Madinah. So what's the main reason of the masjid? Superficially, it's a masjid. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam immediately the following next ayah: لا تقم فيه أبدا لمسجد أسس على التقوى من أول يوم أحق أن تقوم فيه رجال يحبون أن يتطهروا والله يحب المطهرين. Do not, O Prophet, ever pray in it. Certainly a mosque founded on righteousness from the first day, which is the message of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the original one, is more worthy of your prayers. In it are men who love to be purified, and Allah loves those who purify themselves. طبعا purification can be understood in both physical and mental. Purification, as we talk about the ablution, the wudu, cleaning yourself after going to the washroom and doing the ghusl, the shower, the ritual shower, all of this, it's part of the purification. And the purification of the heart from associating with Allah, the shirk, enmity, hatred, and all of the things. So both. Then Allah continues, أفمن أسس بنيانه على تقوى من الله ورضوان خير أم من أسس بنيانه على شفا جرف هار فانهار به في نار جهنم والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. Which is better? Those who laid the foundation of their building on the fear and pleasure of Allah? This is the point. Are you a believer? Your basic motivation is the pleasure and fear of Allah or not? If not, you are from another group. Don't consider yourself a believer. What is your priority in your life? Allah or someone else? This is the concept of taslim, the Islam. قال, which is better? Allah is teaching Muhammad and we after Muhammad. Which is better? Those who laid the foundation of their building on the fear and pleasure of Allah, or those who did so on the edge of a crumbling cliff? It's a metaphor that tumbled down with them into the fire of the hell, and Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people. These three ayats, they told you about Masjid al-Dirar, the masjid which was built to cause harm and to divide believers and to be a location of gathering of wealth and arms to fight Muslims and to kick them out of their homeland. And as if Allah is giving us an example. Now, okay, what is the morale or the more behind this story? Keep talking. The most dangerous category in the Islamic society is hypocrites. I will keep repeating. When Allah started Surah Al-Baqarah, the biggest chapter in the Quran, the first 20 ayah, 5 first ayat, they are talking about believers. Alif Lam Mim, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب. The first 5. Then, verse number 6 and 7, just 2 ayat, it talks about the explicit, the direct, the frank non-believers. إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم. 2 ayat to speak about those who decided to be non-believers. They disbelieved explicitly. Don't waste your time. They don't want you. They don't want the akhirah, blah, 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 blah. 2 ayat, that's it. 2 verses with 2 lines, that's it. Then the rest 13 ayahs about munafiqeen. As if the Quran says, human on earth, the divine classification of people, believer and unbeliever. The non-believers, they are direct non-believers and hypocrites. As if Allah is saying, look, so 20 ayah. 5 of them, which means 25%. the most important characteristics of you as a Muslim society, what should you do? Just 25%. Then 10% about the direct disbelievers. The rest 60% about hypocrites who are living among us, acting as if they are part of us, and they hold the highest level of hatred against us, which will destroy us. SubhanAllah, I'm talking about the beginning of chapter Al-Baqarah. Now we are talking about an incident of Al-Munafiqeen. And there's a special chapter about Al-Munafiqeen. Full chapter, tens of verses about them. What's the reason? From one angle, be careful not to be from them. Because they are living among you and they have characteristics. They hate such and such. Their priority, their loyalty is not for Allah. Okay, but I have two friends. Their loyalty does not care. Oh, be careful. They should not be your friends. The concept of wala and bara, it's a basic concept in Islam. The concept of loyalty and disloyalty. You are loyal to who? It's like, for example, to make it simple, in our simple language, I will finish by this. Because when we speak about this, immediately, but we all now living in a very modern stage, we are in a democratic societies, all of us should be inclusive. Is this applicable? Is it possible to be inclusive with everyone? Or it's impossible? It's impossible. Okay, bring me now the best liberal, inclusive Western people if they can accept Nazism and to deal in inclusivity with them. Do they? Hitler and Nazism. Oh, okay. So you have your own reasons. Hitler is a criminal. Fascism. Communism. Terrorist. Who would like from the nice liberal, for example, Western nice guys to be inclusive with terrorists? Who? So you do classify the people. You exclude some of them, definitely. But you decide your own categories how to classify. So we have our own system how to classify. For us, believers, non-believers, direct and hypocrites. So depending on what, we have our own categories. We have our own categories. For example, good citizen, bad citizen. Is it a well-known terminology in the West or not? Yes or not? Do we have the terminology of a good citizen, bad citizen or not? What decides, on what base, what is the standard to decide a bad citizen? Give me one of the agreed upon categories of a bad citizen. For example, the one who does not pay taxes. Good or bad citizen? Definitely the worst. Because he's fighting God. Do you know what I mean? He's fighting those who worship money. So can you ever find a person in the West says a one who does not pay tax is a good citizen? Then why not to be inclusive? No. They are destroying their society. They are bad people. They are not supporting. They are not loyal. To what? To your system. And by the way, I agree with you, no problem. But I'm just asking those hypocrites. You are living in this system. Why when we as Muslims use the same logical concept, you feel as if we are the only non-inclusive people on earth? Everyone is non-inclusive, by the way. Everyone. Even the best liberal democratic people, they are non-exclusive with what they think they are what? Bad. Am I saying a logical thing or emotional? Is this logic or not? I mean, do you witness that or not? Whatever, give me, I challenge by the way, I challenge you now. Give me one real liberal, democratic, fully inclusive society on earth. Now, I will shut up my mouth. One example, real example. Don't tell me what if. Don't tell me this is. Give me an example, if you can. Play the devil's advocate. Roll. تفضل يلا هسه. Come with your troubles. يلا. Give me an example. One example about a fully inclusive society. One. Every society have their own concerns and restrictions against some certain categories. North Korea, China, if you are not up to the last few years just, now, for example, China for decades, not the last few years, for decades, they were Communist Party controlling China, the 1 billion person. If you are not part of the Communist Party, may God be with you. Completely. Non-exclusive. German Nazis, the same. Italian fascism, the same. Russian communism, the same. But what a nice American democratic, the same. Go and read Mr. Google or ask ChatGPT about McCarthyism. Have you heard about McCarthyism? Al-McCarthiyya. Have you heard about that? McCarthyism, you know what is so-called the Cold War between Americans and the Russians. You know, after the collapse of the Germans and the very weakness of the huge British Empire after the Second World War, the world started a new world order. America, before 1945, it was not the player number one on earth. It was not. After 1945, and using the 2 nuclear bombs against Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they jumped to be player number 1. The collapse of Japan, Germany, Italy, the emerge now of the Russians or the United Soviet Social Republic, are opposed to the Americans now. Both of them, they were competing in the space industry, reaching the moon, in nuclear bombs. In this competing, it used to be called in 60s, 70s, 80s, up to 91 for about 40 years, the Cold War, Al-Harb al-Barida. They were fighting from, as we say, from underneath the table, just destroying everyone. They have allies and against allies. At that time, at a certain time, Americans, they were fearing any Russian spies. They have a serious problem with anyone who's cooperating with the Russians. So at that time, they used something called, to the best of my knowledge, the McCarthy. McCarthy, it's the surname of an MP in the Congress. He made a law, put a law, by this law, because it's like fighting terrorism now. Because of this, for example, they put some certain categories how to discover and to define the enemies of America. Once someone is labeled with such and such things, he will be supporting Russians against Americans. So it was viral spread. So anyone wants to take revenge from anyone, easily just try to report he's supporting the Russians. He will lose his job. He's like now terrorism and Islam. If you want to destroy someone, just try to write a report as an informant and say, I saw him in XY masjid saying such and such, supporting such and such, he's lost. Even if you are lying, he might lose everything by the accusation. Why? Because now there is a stereotype and labeling for the people. At that time it was called McCarthyism, because the one who suggested this law, and it went viral. Millions of Americans, they were influenced in a bad way, and many of them, they were innocent. But it was, because of the war. So ask Americans at that time, do you accept inclusivism? It's impossible. No, they are their enemies. Do you accept inclusivism with Russians? No. With China's now? No. Give me now a very nice liberal democratic state who accept to be inclusive with all of Afghani people. Can we find them? Seriously, I'm asking. Can we find them? According to the stereotypes they created the last 20 years. No, you can't. So what I'm saying, be clear that in your faith, this is the classification, a believer and non-believer. But especially about faith and the hereafter. I'm not discussing now in this worldly life. Every non-believer is completely protected by his money and his dignity. The fact that he's non-believer, he's a human being, and he has a full right with you in this dunya. But if you come and ask me, okay, Mr. Believer, you Muslim, and I don't believe in your Lord or any Lord. What do you classify me? A non-believer. Okay, if I die according to your faith, what will happen to me? To the hellfire. But this is, do you believe? No, I don't believe. Why should you care? You got my point? It's really something craziness. You say, why do you believe? I'm talking about the hereafter when you die. In this dunya, you have the full rights. And you are a nice person, you might be my neighbor, and I will deal with you. But if you ask me what will happen to you when you die, you will go to the hellfire if you are still holding what you are holding. But this is unfair. Unfair why? You don't believe in what I believe. Why should you taking the Jannah that I believe and you don't believe in? Where is the problem? Where is? It's like imagine now. Do you believe in the spaghetti monster? Seriously. There is a huge monster lives in one of the planets. It comes in 1 million years, it passes through Earth. Okay? This is what I'm telling you, claiming now. This spaghetti monster, it's in the size of the Empire State. It will pass by planet Earth in the coming 2 weeks. If you do not bow to the spaghetti monster, you will all die. So, are you ready to bow to the spaghetti monster? I'm asking you seriously. Are you ready to bow? Yes or no? What, Dr. Yasser? You are not afraid from the spaghetti monster? Really? You are laughing. Be careful. The spaghetti monster might punish you.
I'll be a spaghetti.
Huh?
I'll be a spaghetti.
You see, you are laughing. Why? Because you don't believe. You don't believe. For you, it's a joke. Okay. You will keep me just talking blah, 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 blah. And you say, may Allah save him, miskin. Maybe I think the dose of the weed that he's talking is a little bit high. Yes? The dose is a little bit high. And that's it. You don't care about the Jannah of this spaghetti. You don't care. You don't believe. Why on earth a non-Muslim will come and speak with me, hey, why I will not go to your Jannah? Because you don't believe in it. Do you need more than that answer? Very simple. Wallahu a'lam. Anyway, so we finished at least talking about munafiqeen. Next time, we might start talking about the story of the 3 Sahaba. اللي هو the story called قصة توبة كعب بن مالك وصاحبيه. The 3 Sahaba, they have a very specific story in the context of the Battle of Tabouk, inshallah. See you there, and tomorrow see you in tafsir. Assalamu alaikum. الله يحرق شيطانك يا